Promising news in the international race for a COVID-19 vaccine. The U.S. pharmaceutical company Moderna's candidate showed positive results in a phase 1 trial with all 45 people tested showing both neutralizing antibodies and a T-cell response and no major safety concerns. The Moderna candidate now moves on to a critical phase 3 trial in 30,000 people later this month. And here to discuss is Dr. Suman Radhakrishna, an infectious disease doctor and the director of that department at Dignity Health California Hospital Medical Center. Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Radhakrishna. This seems like it's some good news. 45 out of 45 having that immune response, no major safety concerns. Do you think that it's good news? What does it mean for our search for a vaccine?
First of all, thank you for having me. And yes, it is good news because what you see on Petri dish may never translate 100% to what happens in real life. So phase 1, understand, is healthy volunteers who have no other medical problems, who are given the vaccine, and the vaccine doses are escalated to see what dose works the best and what are their side effects. So it showed that it produced antibodies against COVID-19, similar to somebody who had recovered from COVID-19. So it does seem to work in that respect in producing antibodies. Second, it didn't have too many side effects. And if people had side effects, it was more common after the second dose. So 2 doses were given about a month apart.
And now we're moving on to this phase 3 with 30,000 people. What does that really look like? What is Moderna looking for? What is the FDA looking for in that phase of this trial?
So phase 1 is to see if it is tolerable, if it produces what we want it to produce. Phase 2 is not healthy volunteers, but the actual subpopulation of people who are at risk. And you give them the vaccine and see if it produces the same level of antibodies. Phase 3, you give it to many more people and who are at risk for the virus and see if they contract the infection. If the group of people who got the vaccine did not get the virus and did not get the viral infection, then great, the vaccine works.
And I know that the FDA also set a benchmark of about a 50% reduction in symptoms, which they need to see to consider this vaccine something that could move forward and come to market. And when we look at the timeline, too, the Moderna president said that by Thanksgiving, we should get the results from this phase 3 trial. He's saying by the end of the year, beginning of next year, we can go into mass development and distribution of this vaccine. I would want to get your sense of a timeline to the extent that you can predict such a thing. I mean, from the phase 3, also the production, the distribution, where do you see an optimistic and a realistic case of getting this vaccine?
Right now, the virus is raging. There's so many people who are testing positive, and especially if you look at the Sun Belt states, you find that it is just ravaging economies, ravaging families, so many people being admitted, so many people dying. So this would be a great time to test the vaccine in phase 3, because if this group of individuals, A, did not fall sick, or B, didn't have too many symptoms and did not need to be hospitalized, then I think we can assume that the vaccine did make a difference in the subpopulation of individuals who were vaccinated. And once we get the result by probably the end of this year, then it all depends on how quickly they can get all the materials necessary, including the syringes, including the needles that are needed to vaccinate these people. So it becomes more of logistics in terms of producing the vaccine. Do understand, typically it takes about 5 to 10 years to get a vaccine from inception to actually for people use. And we are doing everything within a matter of months, because remember, we didn't know COVID existed until December, and then now it's worldwide, and they've come up with the vaccine through genetic engineering and everything else. So it's been really a crunched up process. So let's hope it works.
It's true, Dr. Radhakrishna, and that, of course, brings up lots of issues with respect to safety, which we're keeping our eye on. For today, it is good news to know that a U.S. candidate is proceeding, and it gives us a little bit of hope, and we appreciate your perspective on all the ins and outs of it. We look forward to speaking to you again when we get to talk about the safety of this vaccine. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.